Today we'll share a few common types of dark patterns so that you become more aware of what's going on and so that you don't get manipulated online in the future. Dark patterns are deceptive elements of product design that get users to do things they might not want to do. And products that use dark patterns create a deceptive design that could nudge users towards decisions they don't really want to make in the first place. It's quite the opposite of what product designers should strive to do, which is creating transparent and user-focused designs. They're simply cheap tricks that make use of the fact that most users don't really read the content and the terms that they're agreeing to. They just skim through web pages and click all the checkboxes and they think they're good to go. As a result, they miss that they're being taken advantage of. So the first dark pattern we're going to talk about is the bait and switch. So the bait and switch is where you set out to do one thing, but a different, undesirable effect comes about. Now you might remember this, or you might not, but back in 2016, Microsoft tried to urge people to upgrade to Windows 10. And you might think there's nothing wrong with that. It's a new product, so why shouldn't they advertise it? And eventually, as time went on, most people began to begin the upgrade process towards Windows 10, mostly through innocent little pop-ups every now and then on the desktop. But as time went on, Microsoft started resorting to what could be a pretty blatant use of bait and switching when it came to getting people to sign up. Since the 80s, that little X in the top corner of the screen has been used to close the window. But Microsoft decided to change it so that same X instead meant, yes, I actually want to upgrade my PC to Windows 10. And as you can imagine, they faced some pretty serious backlash from the community. And although they did eventually return the little X back to normal, it's pretty clear that they made use of a bait and switch during this time. Now, confirm shaming. Confirm shaming is the act of guilting a user into opting into something, and the option to decline is worded in such a way that might make the user feel bad if they don't decide to do it. So the most common use of this is where websites try and get you to sign up to their mailing list. You know, those little pop-ups that come up on every single site. I mean, take a look at this. This is on a financial website offering investment reports in exchange for your email address. The sign-up gives you two options. Yes, count me in, or no, I love being poor. And once you start noticing it, this dark pattern is everywhere. So have you seen this dark pattern before? If you have, let me know in the comments down below and tell me what your best example is of confirm shaming. As well as being a FOMO generator, it's probably a big contributor to that horribly messy inbox you guys have. Don't worry, I'm guilty of it too. Disguised ads. These are adverts that are disguised as other kinds of content or navigation that trick you into clicking on them when in reality it just takes you to another site or a product or something they might be trying to sell to you. Now this one in 2019 is literally everywhere. More than likely, while trying to watch your favorite TV show online, you've come across ads on the sidebar or on top of the video. They might be disguised as a button to close another ad or a link to stream it in HD or download in HD, or even just something that seems relevant to you and that you'd be interested in. When in reality, you go to click one of these and it takes you to a survey page and another to a pop-up ridden website. And the actual link that you're looking for is probably just a tiny line of writing somewhere hidden. It might even be in the same color as the background. You're never going to see it. That might be a bit of an exaggeration, but some of the stuff you see nowadays is pretty ridiculous. So just keep an eye out for disguised ads out and about on the internet. So number 4, we've got forced continuity. So you know when those trial periods that you sign up for come to an end, but they never tell you about it, or they charge you before the thing is finished? Yeah, you know the ones. And this is also coupled with the fact that they usually make it pretty hard to cancel those subscriptions. And a great example of this might be a gym membership. Now, if I had $1 for every trial subscription that I forgot to renew before the end of the month, well, actually I'd probably be bankrupt from all of these subscriptions I let renew at the end of the month. And not only do these companies not remind you of when this subscription is going to end, but the process of cancellation is usually pretty tedious. Now this dark pattern is used pretty commonly with disguised ads. They'll get you to click on a link to a pop-up or a survey page, getting you to sign up to a membership, when actually they charge your card straight away, lock you into a contract you can't really get out of easily, and you're stuck in that loop of not being able to get out but still paying for a product you do not want and you never actually realize you signed up for in the first place. Now the next one is friend spam. Now, this product asks you for your social media or your email under the pretense that it'll give you a desirable outcome. For example, you might get a bonus in some games you're playing or entries into a contest. They're just trying to get all of your contacts so that they can message even more people, to get more people to sign up, and it snowballs from there. This one isn't too popular with major internet websites anymore, but it's still pretty common with gaming and app developers on your phones. A lot of people quickly skip through the permissions page. I'm guilty of it myself. And in the process, you give them access to all of your contacts, your friends, even your email address contacts, and they are free to message them and send them links and downloads as much as they want. Now, a popular example of this, which ended up resulting in a multi-million-dollar lawsuit, was actually LinkedIn back in 2015. So they encourage you to give them access to your email account upon signing up, under the pretense that it will build a strong connection when you do get things started. Now, it sounds pretty harmless and something that could be quite beneficial for you, but in actuality, LinkedIn just ended up spamming every single person on your contact list. And I don't just mean a few people, I mean every single person you had ever emailed, ever, they could send an email to. Yeah. Not only did it get shut down, it actually resulted in a $13 million lawsuit for LinkedIn. Hidden costs. So this is where you get to the last stage of the checkout and some unexpected charges have been added to your purchase. It's pretty common with sites like Ticketmaster and public transport sites like Trainline. And again, this is a pretty common type of dark pattern being introduced nowadays. And a good example of this is Airbnb. So the room might be advertised as $50 a night, but when you get to the checkout and you suddenly realize you've got to pay service fees, cleaning fees, all these different things on top of what you originally thought, things can get pretty expensive. Now, the next dark pattern is misdirection. As it states in its name, this design purposely focuses your attention on one thing, just so it can distract you from another. Way back when I was a lot less internet savvy, the amount of programs and extensions that I signed up for just by blindly clicking through the installations on certain things, it's ridiculous. So an example from my own experience, I tried to install BitTorrent, and during the installation process they asked me a whole load of different things that I wanted to sign up for. If I wanted to get the max speed possible, I had to use Opera browser. I had to make sure I downloaded the next internet speed booster 2000 3.0 or whatever it might be. There's so many different pop-up boxes and tick boxes that I had to try and expertly navigate through, and it was a pretty complicated process. It's easy to see how someone could end up installing a whole load of programs that they just don't want in the first place. And another popular approach is to trick you into paying extra for a service. The next one is price comparison prevention. And this is where the retailer makes it hard for you to create an informed decision by making it difficult for you to compare the prices of two products that you're looking to buy. Does a website really need this many subscriptions? I'm pretty sure I've been out of focus the whole time, haven't I? Now, this next one's probably got the best name out of all of them, and that is privacy Zuckering. And this is where you're tricked into publicly sharing more information than you actually wanted to in the first place. Named after the king of data himself, Mark Zuckerberg, this dark pattern is used in pretty much every corner of the internet. Now, this is usually nestled deep in the small print of the terms and conditions, but it gives the company access to your data and gives them the right to sign off their data to third-party companies that they can use for ads and other targeting related business. It's not just your name and email you're giving away, it also contains stuff about your sexual preferences, your hobbies, and even your mental and physical health. It could even end up with you being refused loans or insurance in the future. This can actually be a pretty dangerous dark pattern for a lot of people. And I really wouldn't expect this dark pattern to phase out anytime soon, since data is now a $200 billion industry. Just try to be mindful of what you're doing online and what data you're sharing. Also, if you want to try and get rid of any data companies might have, check out the website stopdatamining.me. And you'll realize how hard it is just to opt out of these permissions that you've given to companies. And just remember, you will probably never be able to completely delete all data that the government and whatever companies have on you, but you can try to minimize the damage. Next up is Roach Motel. And this is where they make it really easy for you to get into a certain situation, but incredibly difficult for you to get out. This is common with subscriptions, and notice how many dark patterns seem to be related to subscriptions. It's really easy to sign up to them, but really difficult to cancel them, especially now as companies start getting a bit smarter and a bit more confident in the boundaries they try to push. Now, a few examples of this include Spotify having you press cancel 4 separate times just to get away from them, and anyone wanting to escape from the Boston Globe is in for a treat too. There's no direct link. you instead have to go over to their FAQ section and then phone them up in order to cancel. It's almost as if they know millennials' second biggest fear is having to phone someone. Next dark pattern is sneak into basket. It's a pretty strange name, but it makes perfect sense. So this is where you attempt to purchase something, but somewhere along your purchasing journey, usually through the use of little checkboxes or radio buttons, they slip some other things into your basket. Now I'm spoiled for choice for this one. Our old friend Ticketmaster seems to think that you want a Rolling Stone subscription to go along with every ticket. Another great example is GoDaddy, the popular domain hosting service. Search for a name you want to buy and it flashes up saying only 99 cents for the first year. Well, let's say you buy a few of these, and you're probably looking to pay around $17. Now, when you go through the checkout page, suddenly it's $150? Oh, that's right, you wanted 2 years instead of 1, as well as privacy protection on all domains. Just a quick note, if you're in the EU, it is illegal to be sold privacy protection, so just make sure you don't get caught out on that in the future. And last but not least are trick questions. This is where you respond to a question which initially looks like one thing, but if you read it a bit more carefully, it's actually a different thing. You know those checkboxes that require a PhD in quantum physics just for you to work out how many double negatives there are? Now, companies purposely make these confusing just so that you're more likely to end up opting in or signing up for whatever they want you to do. And it's a pretty common dark pattern nowadays. And here's an example from Currys, which is a leading electrical supplier in the UK. And you're going to tick the first box, and out of habit will probably tick the second box too. Oh, there you go, you've just signed up to third-party offers. Make sure you're on the lookout for this one, because it can get pretty nasty being signed up to things that you have to pay for. Linking back to subscriptions, you can get signed up for all sorts of services and products you really don't want. Now, I hope this video has given you a bit of insight into how companies are trying to manipulate you online into getting you to sign up and buy things that you had no intention of doing in the first place. Just remember they are very aware of what they're doing, and they're not going to stop anytime soon until some kind of regulation or law gets put in place, and even then they'll probably still try and get a way around it. So the best thing that you can do is just try to keep informed through videos such as this, and check out some of the websites in the description below, such as Dark Patterns. And share this video around to people that you think would benefit from it, especially your parents or people who might be a bit older who are more prone to falling into these traps online and are more likely to become a victim of all of these dark patterns we've seen today. And as always, thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed my first video here on Game Quitters. For those of you who don't know, I'm James, and I recently started working with Game Quitters as the kind of UK representative. And if you like the video, let me know and comment down below, and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any more of our future videos. And thanks again for watching. Peace.